What's up, everybody? Welcome. Hey, we are actually getting our second podcast in for the week. I'm very proud of us. Great job, Ty. Ty, I can tell there's something different today. There's something different going on. You're excited about something. What's going on today?
You know what, Leo? It's like Christmas Day for me. I woke up, took a shower, got the Dolphin shirt on because it's time. It's the NFL season is here. I'm already telling you right now, about 3:00 today, I'm going to be checking out because this is better than Christmas.
It's going to be a great day. I'm excited to see what happens tonight. So obviously today we're going to be talking about NFL at the end here, making all of the picks, talking about betting odds, et cetera, et cetera. But our money topic, and this is episode 56 of the Go Figure podcast. If you have not been following, if you are getting value from this, you have any questions, concerns about building a seven figures business, then you're probably in the right spot today, because our money topic today is 7 steps to a seven figures business in the next 12 months. And then, Ty, what do we got on mindset? What's going on?
Yeah, we're going to talk. I know we like to talk a lot about values and principles. So we're going to talk about some of the values and principles that seven figure owner, I can't speak apparently. Business owners that have created seven-figure businesses live by, and some ideas on how you can kind of incorporate these into your own life. It's
interesting because 5-6% of business owners get to 7 figures a year in sales and revenue and income. And it's about actually just 0.5%, a little bit less than 0.5% do $10 million a year in sales. And so that's getting to an 8-figure business is a really big deal. But for 95% of business owners, they never get to 7 figures. And so I figure everyone's always talking about making $100 million. And hey, let's just get to 7. If we can get someone to 7 figures as a business owner, they're in the top 5%. They are kicking ass, and so that's what we're going to talk about. If we had to start all over today, which we are launching a couple new businesses this year, and we're going to be working hard to build them to 7 figures in the next 12 months, these are the things we're focusing on. And having built an 8-figure business, these are going to be keys to success for a lot of people, not only in the steps you would take, but then what are the values and principles that you should be implementing and acting on and inserting in your culture. We're going to talk about that. So that's money mindset, going to be awesome. And of course, the crown jewel of today, what do we got on the sports?
Yeah, well, like we mentioned, with the NFL kicking off today, we need to talk about that game, the Chiefs and the Lions tonight, and talk about some picks. Again, gamble at your own risk. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing. And done okay with that over the years with the NFL. So going to talk about that, some other games that we like, and depending on time, maybe talk about a few college football matchups and go from there.
But making a pick in a game in the NFL, in whatever you're doing, I mean, there's business principles behind it, right? You're going to be assessing 2 different teams. You're going to do pros and cons and really make an assessment that is exactly the way you would make a decision in running a business. Those who play poker, who, gamble in sports, there are a lot of business principles, I feel like, that translate to success that you should be, living by.
Oh, absolutely. And especially, Leo, with in-game betting. They call it live betting. Being able to understand trends and being able to understand body languages. And, if someone's constantly bitching and moaning and they're a leader of that team, what is that going to do to the team? If you've got an underdog that you can tell just has that fire in the eye and they're going to win, bet on them throughout the game. The second they go down by a touchdown, that's a great time to place a bet. Knowing and understanding trends, I think, is very important for live betting.
And beyond that, I'd say low risk, high reward investments, right? Yeah. If you can create a marketing plan where if you invest, $1,000 and you can bring $2,000 or $3,000 back, that's a winning formula. And you did the exact same thing with that Colorado college football game last week with Coach Prime. Tell me a little bit about how you did that, because it was very low risk, high reward.
Yeah, I mean, I found a game that it was it was a plus 750, meaning you bet $100 to win 750.
Good deal.
And just did some basic look. TCU lost a lot of their very best talent to the NFL. Colorado has a ton of hype. They've got Coach Prime. They brought in all sorts of athletes. I said, look, it's $50. If I lose $50, I lose $50. But if this game hits, like I think it will, then it paid out something like $375. I had 100 on it and I bailed last minute. I should have trusted that gut. But again, $50 to go out and make 375. Plus I had Colorado on a few teasers. Again, teasers where you have to pick multiple games. And if the spread is -6, now they give you -12 or opposite. So I think teasers are a really, really good way to mitigate your risk. And what's interesting, Leo, is this goes into the workspace, like depicting trends and understanding human beings and understanding body language. It is the exact same thing in the workplace. You can tell when your culture is dropping and people aren't happy and they don't want to be here, and it is infectious, especially if it's with the leaders, right? It's so easy to depict. You've got a leader that has a bad attitude. Well, within a week, the whole team has a bad attitude and the performance drops. Go figure. But I mean, I kind of look at it the same way.
Yeah, in a previous company we both worked at, you could feel that. It was tangible when you were on the sales floor. Like you could tell the morale was down, culture was down. Everything was always changing in a negative way. There was no excitement.
Constant blame game.
Yep, exactly. No accountability, especially from the top. And so that's a big deal. Well, guys, let's jump into our money topic here. 7 steps. If you're trying to build a 7-figure business right now, what are the 7 steps you would need to take? And we're going to unpack these for you. And right at the top of the list is, before you're even contemplating building a 7-figures business, to have a chance at it, you've got to have a product or service that has a proof of concept. The market wants it. There's a need, and that you can provide that product and service. And so Damon John, a lot of the guys in Shark Tank talk about proof of concept. And so when you hear, all right, proof of concept, you got to have a great product or service. How do you really know you've got proof of concept in your mind that there is a place and a need for the product or service that you are going to be selling?
Yeah, and that's been a hard one for me to understand and comprehend, especially in I'm still pretty young, but my early phase of entrepreneurship was like, okay, I've got this awesome idea. How do I get proof of concept? For example, someone like Elon Musk, right? He wants to build rocket ships.
Right.
How on earth do you go get proof of concept? You can't build a rocket ship.
Well,
and just,
I guess we sent someone to the moon
exactly.
in 1969.
I'm going to spend $2 billion to get proof of concept, right? It doesn't work like that. There's other ways you can do that depending on the type of product you're trying to bring to market. If it's something like funding, you can go become an expert and you can find a few consultants and business coaches and trainers, and you can gain proof of concept. If it's something much bigger, you're trying to launch a product, you're trying to build a rocket ship, well, sometimes the best way to do that is to actually pony up and pay someone to provide a market analysis to show you whether there's a spot for it in the market or not. But pinching pennies early on and trying to force something into the market that doesn't really exist and there's not a space for it is definitely not the right way to do it. It's going to be way more expensive.
No question. So, if you're in whatever industry you're in, we're in the business finance space, and so we can start there with an example. Is there a need for people to have access to financing and money to start a business? And immediately when you kind of have your own experience and you go to the bank and the bank tells you no, and you're like, wow, it's actually really hard to know exactly what is the type of financing I can get to start a business. The bank's going to tell you no. What does it take to qualify? Is there a need? And if there are different groups out there that are doing it successfully, then there is starting to be a proof of concept. One of the businesses we're starting comes with this health equipment, right? This shockwave therapy equipment, and that's proven to be successful in multiple locations across the country. We got on the phone with my niece the other day, asked her questions, and you could tell, wow, there's a lot of proof of concept. And so if it's working here, and then you've got a neighborhood over here, there's a good shot it might work out, because there's a need, because that product fulfills a service. And so you can start to figure out a proof of concept. And so early on, before you even launch the business, you want to really have a good idea, have done your research, and know that there's either competition out there that are in that market, in that industry profession, doing well, but you can see a way to do it better and deliver more value. And that's where we kind of get into step number 2. So step number 1, you got a proof of concept. All right, there's definitely a need in the marketplace. There are different competitors out there that are succeeding. That's a good sign. Sometimes you don't want to be the first. Russell Brunson used to have this example. It's like when you're a pioneer and you're going across the West for the first time. Damn, that's dangerous. You get some arrows in your back from the Indians, Native Americans, etc. And so you don't want to be the pioneer. You want to be like the 10th pioneer they've already got paths figured out. All right, you want to avoid this area, no arrows in your back, don't get bit by the rattlesnake, and follow a proven path, but do it in a better way. And that was, I thought, a good example. But step 2 is you want to create a unique selling proposition. Like, okay, great, there's a need for what you got, but why is someone going to use you over the competition?
Exactly. You need to be better at solving a problem than your competition, right? The number one is they've already identified a problem. Enough people have this problem. Now, how do I solve this problem better or more efficiently than the competition? That's what it comes down to, and that's your unique selling proposition.
Exactly right. And there's this book called Blue Ocean Strategy. And if you have not read this book, it's a fantastic read. And what it's about, listen, there are different industries and professions. And so if your industry and profession starts to become commoditized and everything's the same, then it's a race to the bottom, right? If we are both offering a cleaning service and there's not really much difference between, cleaning the office building here, and that you clean it one way, I clean it, pretty much it's the same way, right? We're just cleaning it, so we're providing the same product. And what they call that is a red ocean, because it's like sharks. Everybody's fighting over the same stuff. It's bloodied waters. Yep. And so it's a race to the bottom. It's hard to make money. But if you had a cleaning service that did something really unique in a better way, that was blue ocean strategy, a new way of providing value, then you would set yourself apart. I don't know how that would be in that industry, but I can tell you in the business finance space, a lot of people just get somebody money and then they say, good luck to you. But we started, how can we give them a better experience? How can we educate them? No one taught us about credit, money, and finance in school and college. How can we educate them how these things work and deliver so much more value? Build a fintech product that for a few bucks a month, they can manage all their accounts in one place, pay their bills in one place. That's where you can start to create more value than the competition, and now you're in a whole different category, and people don't even look at you as competing against people in your category because you provide so much value.
Exactly right. And I think that's how we quickly shifted from a red ocean to a blue ocean, because funding, getting access to capital is becoming more and more, I just Google it, I just go to my bank, or whatever that solution may be. But there's nowhere out there where you can not just get financing, but now you can manage all your finances. You can have lifetime access to new funding. You can check your credit. You can get credit strategies. It's all encompassing for the business owner, the solopreneur, right? There's good things out there for enterprise. There's good things out there for individuals, but that's how we've created our blue ocean. Leo, what comes to mind when you think about other businesses out there? Because that blue ocean book is awesome. It's a very, very quick listen, What would you say in our day and age? What are some of the recent blue ocean enterprises that exist right now?
You think of those who were kind of pioneers. You think of Tesla and Elon Musk. He knew there's always a need for cars out there, but that industry is very commoditized, right? Whether you're getting a Chevy, a Ford, a Toyota, that was all very similar, but no one was providing very high quality electric vehicles. So he started to focus in on that, right? And then at the time when Amazon was growing, you had Walmart, and Sam Walton. If you've never read the book Made in America, such a great book, highly recommend it. But this guy, he really disrupted the way retail stores worked, because he said, instead of having a small store just about one thing, whether it was sporting goods or clothing or groceries, he was able to bring all of it together in one store. And because it was all in one store, he could bring the prices overall down. So he disrupted that entire market and built a blue ocean offer and did it better at lower rates with a better experience than Kmart. Put Kmart out of business, put Sears out of business. They both went bankrupt. And then now you've got Amazon that's taken it the other way, that says, hey, I don't want to have to go into Walmart and waste my time. I want to be able to order stuff and have it on my doorstep tomorrow. And so Amazon created a blue ocean offer and disrupted that entire industry.
Speaking of Amazon, you want to talk about a blue ocean? I, for the first time, saw an ad for this, because the key to being a blue ocean is you need to continue to adapt and understand generations change, right? A perfect example of that is YouTube TV. No one wants satellites. Yes. No one wants these big boxes all over their living rooms. No one wants long-term contracts. We want to share with our families. YouTube TV is absolutely blowing up. They just got NFL Sunday Ticket, right? I use YouTube TV. I've tried to switch off it to save money, and I come back every time. It's happened 4 times. They are a blue ocean. But I mean, ultimately, when you break this down, Amazon, one of the more recent things that they're doing is they're now a pharmacy. You can send in prescriptions. I don't know if it's officially launched, but your doctor can send prescriptions to Amazon. You don't have to go stand in that terrible line. You don't have to sit there and have them search for your I don't know why that's always the case, but every time I go to the pharmacy, somehow they never find my damn prescription. And then I say, well, you look again. Well, what's your date of birth? I give them my date of birth again. Oh, yeah, here it is. Magically, it appears the second time. I hate pharmacies, and I 100% will send every single prescription to Amazon.
Oh, and then it's like, oh, I'm not sure this one's covered. Oh, this one is covered by insurance. This one's not. You're like, dude, it's always been covered. And they're like, oh, I'm showing that it's not today. And it's like, well, I'm not going to wait here and come back over and over. I'll just pay without the damn insurance. But it's just like, yeah, horrible experiences. So when you can take a horrible experience and now turn it into getting rid of the friction and the pain, like sometimes it's speed, and we're making, changes, pivots to our funding to increase speed. Sometimes it's just a better overall experience. Sometimes it just saves you time. And so if you can start to do some of those things, incorporate that into your business. And I think you've made just such a powerful example, right? Because TV, you've got like the old legacy system, right? You've got cable and satellite, and you've got like NBC, ABC, all these old ways of, basically taking in content. Now the streaming services have come in, and you're exactly right. YouTube is doing it better, and they're doing it so much better now. One of the last things that old TV services and cable had to hold on to make money was sports, because there's all this data that show that people watch sports and they actually watch it live, so they actually are watching the commercials, right? And so, but now that's not true, because now it's going to YouTube or it's going to Apple TV. Do you know what Messi just did with Apple TV?
I saw that.
He exploded the subscriptions, brought so much value. So now sports is going to be off all the old legacy TV models and cable, and now it's going to be on the streaming services like Apple TV, like YouTube. You saw NFL go into Amazon Prime on Thursdays last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, marketing's so much more efficient now, too, because they can do targeted ads based off of the viewers, because they know it's my YouTube account. I've recently learned that you probably get different ads than I do watching YouTube TV. Not for all of them. There's some of them that just run for everyone, but some of them you can say, I'm not interested in this product. Don't show me this ad again. I'm like, talk about a better way to watch TV. They definitely found their blue ocean. So
super interesting, exciting. And so another example where it's almost like you have to say, all right, if I was trying to put myself out of business or this company, what would that look like? How would the experience be better? How would it save me time, be more convenient? And it's not always about saving money. Sometimes it's just more or less about saving time and a better experience.
Yeah.
YouTube TV is a great example of that. Another thing we talk about, step 3, is you've got to have values and principles like non-negotiables. We're going to get into that, I think, in our mindset topic here. But if you don't have values and principles, you're going to do what you say you're going to do. You're going to build a culture of success. Like when someone knows that that's what you guys stand for, that means a big difference. And so you think of, what's a company you think of that's like quality? Apple, right?
Yeah.
Quality. You think, hey, I want high quality. There you go, Abercrombie Fitch. High quality. Where's my shirt on?
I need to order it. You've got my word. You'll get one.
But seriously, like an Apple phone, an Apple computer, an iPad, like the Apple Watch. I mean, I just read Steve Jobs' biography, and I just read After Steve, Everything Tim Cook. Do you realize Tim Cook took that from like a $400 million business market capitalization to now $3 trillion?
Wow.
In just over a decade. Like, it's pretty impressive what he's done. And that's because of what Steve Jobs created. Like, this is what a great product and experience is about. And Apple's, like, even when you open the box, like, you don't have that experience with other things. You
don't throw the boxes away because they're so pretty. It's like this useless box of junk is sitting here, but it's an Apple box, and it looks so sleek and sexy.
It's like a work of art.
Exactly. We have a bunch of them here. I don't know why, but no, Apple actually, and I feel like I constantly keep finding new things with Apple that I didn't even realize. Like, so I hate my Amazon Alexa. I can't stand it for some reason, and I hate the connectivity of it, and it always seems to have issues connecting to Nest and then Ring. And so I recently found out Apple has like what's called the Apple, I think it's iHub or the Home
Really?
Hub,
Uh-oh.
where it's like way more quality than any other like Sonos. Like it is a really, really nice big speaker that you put in your living room, and then you put little mini hubs in each room throughout your house. And I can title this one Jack, I can title this one Master, and I can get on my watch and say, hey Siri, tell Jack it's time to wake up. Or I can get on my phone and say, hey Siri, set an alarm in Tommy's room for 7 a.m. Or I can get on my MacBook and talk to him. Like the way they all sync up, I think Apple's just done a phenomenal job. You can't, there's no point in getting a MacBook if you don't have the iPhone and vice versa, and then you want the watch. So they're doing, I love Apple. Big fan.
Yeah, no question. All right, so that is, we talk a little bit about values and principles, and then you've got to define, well, how are you going to bring in business? Sometimes you can be really good at providing a product or service, but if you don't know how you're going to bring new customers and clients in the door, maybe your website, your sales funnel, whatever it may be, then you're not going to get very far. So you have to have a marketing plan, and that could mean strategic partnerships, right? It doesn't necessarily mean spending a bunch of money on marketing. If you go out and you reach out to someone who already has all of your top clients, and you can create an affiliate program to benefit them or provide a service that helps them to grow and build their business, they're going to send you business. And so strategic partners, and then you've got to be using technology. You've got to know how online sales funnels work. And even in grocery stores, they have sales funnels, right?
Yeah.
You go out and you get your groceries, you go to sit in the checkout line, and what's sitting in the checkout line? Well, grab some magazines,
Candy.
grab some candy,
Yeah.
grab a drink. And so even they've got their upsells, they've got their sales funnels. I used to talk to my kids about that. So you've got to have that built out. That's step 4. And then step 5, you got to build a great team. You've been instrumental at building a great team here at Seven Figures Funding. What would you attribute some of the success that someone should think about in building a great team?
I think with building a great team, the first step there is not to build a team too quickly, right? You need to be very strategic with your hiring. I think the worst thing you can do is overhire and just start throwing all this cash away that you really can't afford as a new business. So just like step number 1 is to get proof of concept, I think step number 5 in building a great team, that proof of concept theory comes into play again. If I'm going to hire a new role, I'm going to step into that role myself for a few weeks and develop and create that proof of concept. And that's, Leo, something that I've done with every single role within this company. So not only do people actually understand, oh, Ty knows what he's doing, I want to listen to him, but we've proved out that that role actually does have a need, that it actually will work. And then when we're hiring, we're letting people know exactly who we are, exactly what we stand for. And I blatantly will tell them, Jillian can say this. She was one of the hires, actually, what is it, a little over a year? Over a year ago. Wow. That's crazy. And you're one of our newest hires because people just stick around. But I blatantly said, Jillian, if you are looking for a corporate America job, let's part ways right now. This is not for you. We are a family-oriented company. We only hire people that want to work like that. If that's not for you, that's okay. I wish you the best. If that is for you, then let's go ahead and move forward. So I think really laying it out there, here's who we are, here's what we stand for, and developing a proof of concept in every role before you hire is the key.
100%. And to be able to actually, hey, I've done that role, right? I've done that.
Yeah.
I know exactly, what the obstacles are and what it takes to succeed in that role. And that means a lot when you can actually tell someone that you've been in that role and you've done all that. And so I think that's super helpful. So building your team, hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah,
that's something a lot of people talk about. And then, all right, so you've got those foundations. Step 6 is you've got to track your analytics and your key performance indicators, like how many leads are coming in, how many are moving forward, what's our conversion rate. And then one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of business owners make that don't ever get to 7 figures is they don't actually know, am I making money?
Yeah.
Money's coming in, money's going out. It seems like we're super successful. And wait, there's no money at the end of the month in the bank account. What's going on here, right? And so you have to have, the first thing we did was we sat down with your dad, who's been a CPA for 30 plus years, and said, Dwight, how do we make sure we're profitable on a week-to-week basis and know that we're winning this game. We got credit card payments and charges and bank accounts. Are we winning? And so we had these rules, and we knew, all right, every week we have a money date, and we know if we're winning. Every month we have a profit and loss, and we know exactly whether we're making money, losing money. And sometimes you make investments in the business, and you may show a loss, and then all of a sudden the profits start to come in, and that's kind of exactly how this year has gone. We've made a lot of investments into the My Figures app, into technology, into other marketing programs, and now a lot of profits are starting to come in. And so, but understanding what you're doing and that you're making money is super important.
Yeah, and being able to forecast based on those analytics. We'll do some basic consulting with a lot of companies, and I look at their analytics tab, and it's like, I have this many leads and I have this many sales. Well, okay, that doesn't mean a damn thing to me unless I know, okay, based on your sales, what are your actual margins? How are you converting with different lead sources? Are you paying a bigger split to this partner than you are that partner, right? There's so many things that you've got to dissect those analytics. And just like when you're digging through pain in a sales process, you need to find the base analytic of sales and then really dissect it to understand the ins and outs of that analytic. And that's how you can actually use them.
And it's kind of like, hey, if one customer comes in, what is our cost to fulfill on that client? If we have cost of goods for the product, like what's left over before I have to actually pay all the overhead, maybe additional employees, marketing. You have to have a decent amount. Hopefully you're at 40, 50% gross profit margins before you have your overhead, and you can, pull 15, 20, 25% net profit. Super important. And then the final step here is, all right, make sure you're making long-term investments into the business. One of the issues we see with business owners is they're only thinking about today. And if you start thinking about, well, what's it going to take to be successful long-term? And I love coming back to this example that we had in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. And we're like, we've got to invest in a partner portal. It's going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars, but it will pay off for years to come. We made that investment, and it literally paid off within 3 months. And it's been so vital. There's no way we could have built an 8-figure business without making that investment. So you have to make long-term decisions. And if you're going to invest in something, you want to invest, I think, in technology, systems, processes, and people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, again, being able to strategically make those long-term investments comes down to truly understanding your market, understanding your analytics, understanding your partners and what they need, what those pain points are. So
perfect. All right, that was our money segment there. We had 7 steps to build a 7-figures business and do it within 12 months. And those are really 7 steps that are not theoretical. They've been proven successful for us. Maybe you've got a few different ones on there that you think or that have worked for you. If you do, comment, share those with us, share them with everybody. Let's jump into our mindset quickly before we jump into the NFL matchups for this week 1 of the NFL. So if you are a 7-figures business owner, what are some of the values and principles that you should be subscribing by, living by, that are non-negotiable no matter what? We're going to stick to these. What would be the first one? And we've got it on our wall. But what would be the first one that comes to mind?
This, Leo, to me is the biggest thing with anyone, period. Whether it's a business owner, whether it's a human, this is who I surround myself with. These are people that they do what they say they're going to do. And interestingly enough, Tom Brady was on the Patrick Bet-David show recently, and they gave him that big painting, which was just freaking awesome. But amazing, yeah. I know we talk about sports a lot, but when you really break this down, Tom Brady, we had an opportunity to listen to someone who is the best of the best. Like, there's no difference with that and someone like Steve Jobs. They truly are the best of the best. And when it comes down to it, what does Tom Brady attribute his success to? And he says clear as day, if you want to be a high level achiever, you need to clearly define and understand your values and principles. So, and number 1 on this list should always be for everyone, you do what you say you're going to do. And if you're not going to do it, then don't commit to it.
I can tell you, that puts you in the top 10% of business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, salespeople. If you actually do what you say you're going to do and you follow through, and if something weird happens and you can't, but you really make up for it, you apologize, you own it, you're accountable, that is probably one of the top principles for success right there. And I can think of someone we know, right? A very smart, very capable entrepreneur who, we've worked with in the past and really struggles with this principle. And so if there's something you're not great at as a business owner, you need to bring someone in to sort of take on that weakness for you, and someone who has a strength in that category. Maybe you're really good at creating an initial product, but the operations of it, you're not so good. And the systems and processes, you need to fill that weakness. But when you make all sorts of commitments that you do not follow through with, there's no quicker way to lose confidence and trust with your clients, with your strategic partners, with your employees, with your family. I mean, how many parents go out there and make promises, commitments to their kids and don't follow through with them? It's just mind-boggling, but that's such an important principle for everything.
Yeah, there's no quicker way to lose trust and accountability. And, at the end of the day, that's literally, it's such a red flag for me. If someone doesn't do what they say they're going to do and there's like zero remorse there whatsoever, I know for a fact that's someone that I just don't care to be around.
Exactly right. And as I always tell my kids, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Amen.
And so you need to make sure you're hanging out with great people that have high standards. Another one that is, if somebody is whining and complaining a lot, and everybody goes through ups and downs in their lives, but one of the quickest ways you'll start to see someone go downhill, and I can think of some of our previous employees who started off on fire. 6, 12 months in, they're just killing it. They've got great work ethic. They're making a lot of money. They're doing so well. And I'll think, wow, they're showing signs that they could be fantastic. Maybe they're going to be here for a long time. My wife will comment, oh, wow, they're so great. I'm sure they're going to be here for years. And literally 6 months later, they start whining. They start complaining. Everything is someone else's fault. Their work ethic drops. Their attitude goes to shit. And guess what? They're no longer here, and their life continues to go downhill. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen that happen with.
Exactly. And the next key here that they talk about is just the opposite of that, is you need to be someone that finds solutions, right? And finding solutions oftentimes comes down to having a little whiteboarding session. There's times where you've got a problem and it's like, wow, I have no idea what the hell we're going to do or how we're going to get through this. But guess what? You sit down and you start writing down solutions, even if they're the most asinine solutions that you will never, ever go forward with. Start whiteboarding, start writing them down, because those ideas will generate new ideas and you'll start to come up with different options, different solutions, but be solution driven.
I always say there's 3 types of people in life. There are people that are really good at finding problems. We have a lot of those. And then there are people that actually make problems, make things worse. We don't need any more of those. The very small amount, finite amount of people who are problem solvers, that's what we need more of. So if you're working at a company, are you bringing solutions? There's a lot of employees that are really good at bringing problems, but if you can bring me the problem and a potential solution, now we've got something to talk about. Far too often in life and in business, people make love to their problems instead of focusing on the solutions. And you're right, you might not know what it is, but when you sit down and you focus on it, you've got such a great shot of now solving it. And maybe it's going to take a few tests and trials to find it, but you eventually will. And so that's finding solutions. Another one is just demanding high standards of yourself, high standards of your children, your family, high standards of your team at work, and never being satisfied with mediocre, subpar results. That is absolutely a value and principle that successful entrepreneurs and 7-figure business owners are going to live by.
Exactly. And you can't and shouldn't demand anything that you're not willing to do or live by yourself. I think for leaders, that is so imperative. I mean, if I have a manager or boss or director that's saying, you better be in here by 9 a.m. every day, and they're rolling in at 10:30 with a Starbucks and they're looking lazy and whatnot, then their word's not going to mean anything to me. So demand high standards, but also live by them yourself. The next thing here, Leo, is being willing to, delay gratification, understanding that building a 7-8 figure business is a process. It's not an event. It doesn't happen overnight for anyone. If it happened overnight, there's outliers, but
we'd all do it.
Exactly. Or it's a massive scam. So it's a process. It's not an event. And come into it with that understanding and that mindset.
And in that same vein, yeah, it's a process, not an event. And so you have a long-term view. It's not short-term, because sometimes you can make short-term decisions that may make you money. Maybe it's operating in a gray area, but ultimately long-term, it's going to put you at risk. Your business is going to be at risk. You might make a short-term decision that is not the best decision long-term. So you want to look at things. If you look at things from a long-term perspective, and it's interesting. I was listening to another podcast show with PBD, and he was talking about studying these businesses in Japan. And there's some businesses in Japan that are literally, I think one is like 500 years old. And there are multiple hundreds of companies that are over 100, 200 years old. And how is that possible? Because they have such a long-term view, and they're making long-term decisions. They're investing in things that are going to last, and they're always looking to make pivots and adapt. What oftentimes happen, and you see this in so many different businesses, where a business or a team starts to get lazy. Yep. They start to become very bureaucratic. They don't work as hard. They just sort of rest on their laurels, and that's a company that's going to go out of business very quickly, and we see this all the time. And so if you're thinking long-term, you're not thinking like that.
Absolutely. And the last one here on this list is taking care of your credibility and your reputation. And I think that one comes down to living those 6 values that we just mapped out and laid out here, Leo, right? If you do those 6 things, then number 7, your credibility is going to take care of itself. Obviously, we don't want to be vain and worry so much about what people think of us or of ourselves. But at the same time, your credibility and your reputation does matter, and you need to make sure you're protecting that.
So when you think about like credibility, reputation, like what comes to mind? Like, okay, if you want to be a 7-figure business owner, these are the things you need to be aware of when it comes to credibility and reputation.
I mean, for me, again, I'll go back to Tom Brady. I think of Tom Brady, his reputation, the second I think about him is he's the hardest worker in the NFL. He's the most prepared worker in the NFL. He does the hard things that other people won't. He will not say he's going to do something unless he's going to do everything in his power to do it. He lives those things right there. So I mean, ultimately what it comes down to with credibility and reputation is, does this person live by what they say they're going to do?
Amen. They're very congruent. You know exactly what you're getting from them. And in today's world, if you have a business that you're building, or even if you're an entrepreneur, that means you've got a business brand and you've got a personal brand. And the easiest way to see how you're doing with that, like it or not, is Googling your business name, right? Yeah. It's pulling up your business name on YouTube. It's Googling your own name as the entrepreneur business owner. It's putting your name, in YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. What is popping up? Because that's the reputation and credibility that people are looking at. What are clients saying? What are online reviews saying? And if you don't have spectacular online reviews, you will not have credibility and reputation, period.
Yeah. Amen.
All right. Well, great. That was our mindset topic, values and principles of 7-figure business owners. Ty, let's jump into it. We've got the matchups here. Woo! The NFL's launching. We got week 1. I'm excited.
Where are we at, Jenny? Are we way over time? Do I need to just rip through these?
We're over time by 8 minutes.
All right, 38 minutes right now. All right, we can do this in a couple minutes then. I'm just going to go through these teams. I'm going to give you my picks, and then I'm going to give you one little teaser bet that I think is phenomenal. That being said, tonight we have the Lions at the Chiefs. And I'm going to stick with what I said on Tuesday. In fact, I've already placed a bet. My money is on the Lions. I have a small bet on them covering the spread, and then I have a big bet on them flat out winning because it has a much higher payout. I got it at plus 220, meaning $100 to win 220. The reason for that one, I won't give you a reason for all of them, but this one's, I think
there's a few reasons.
Exactly. I think Patty Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, probably top 3 quarterbacks all time.
I agree.
It's going to take him a minute to get his receivers used to him in real game speed. He's got a lot of new faces, a lot of unproven faces. His best go-to receiver, Travis Kelce, likely is not playing, and if he does suit up, it's simply to show face. Isaiah Pacheco's been banged up. I just think Chris Jones isn't playing. I think the Chiefs will take a minute to get into form. The Lions finished the season one of the hottest teams out there. They're healthy. They're more mature. I like the Lions in this one. Agree with that one?
I do agree with that. Sorry, Jonas. It's not going to be a good one for Patty today. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The next game on the ballot here, we've got the Panthers at the Falcons. I'm going Falcons on that one. We've got the Texans at the Ravens, probably the easiest pick out there. The Ravens are going to destroy them.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd bet the spread, but I probably would. So the next one, we've got Bengals at Browns. Oddly enough, a lot of people are picking Browns. Sorry, I'm not on that bandwagon yet.
No way.
It's not happening. Deshaun, you're not.
I'm not certain Deshaun Watson is a long-term solution, honestly.
No, I need to.
I feel like when you go through something crazy like he did, and you remember when Michael Vick went through the dog thing and how terrible that was, but you could see how sorry he was, and he did everything possible, I feel like, to turn his life around, and I just respected everything that he did. And watching Deshaun Watson, I don't feel like he's gone through that transformation at all, and I think karma's going to follow him.
Probably won't have a happy ending. Let's put it that way.
Yep, I agree.
Not to the NFL. Next one. So I'm going Bengals there. Next one, we've got the Jaguars visiting the Colts. I am really, really big on the Jaguars covering the spread and the flat-out win, which, to talk about the one teaser bet, I'm going to suggest it's going to be the Lions and the Jaguars as the first two teams in that. I'll get to the third one. The next game, Buccaneers at Vikings. I am definitely going Vikings all day long, although I actually think the Bucs are going to be better than a lot of people think. They still have some good talent, and although Baker Mayfield didn't have the best start to his career, he came in and did some special things for the Rams and may have a little opportunity to save his career there. The next one on the list, we've got the Titans visiting the Saints. This is probably the trickiest game for me to pick, just because the Saints do have a lot of talent. I do believe in
I'm picking the Saints in this
Carr. I just think that Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins and Sharp, what's his name? Their new rookie running back. I just think there's a little too much firepower.
Actually, I didn't know Hopkins was on the Titans.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Titans. They're the underdog, but I'm going to go with the Titans.
Tannehill's still quarterback, right?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike Vrabel's a great coach. But there's something. I think the Saints are going to make the playoffs this year.
In that division, they really can.
Here's some of the reasons why. Michael Thomas looks like he's actually back. He's made me so ill being a Saints fan the last several years. He just hasn't even played since signing that huge contract, but he's looked really good. Derek Carr is out to show people, he wants to give, he's a very religious guy, so he probably won't be flipping people off. But metaphorically, he wants to flip everybody off and say, hey, you guys screwed up at the Raiders. I am a great quarterback. Watch me play. And so I'm in, and their defense has been good.
Well, and Olave is one of the best receivers.
Olave should have been rookie of the year. Was he?
Yeah. No, it was the Jets.
He should have.
Garrett Wilson, I believe, for offensive. But yeah, the other thing too, game. Leo, if Alvin Kamara was playing, I may go Saints, but I'm sticking with Titans. I do love Jamal Williams, but going Titans. 49ers visiting the Steelers. Actually, a lot of analysts are predicting the Steelers win this game. But I just think with Bosa getting that deal done today, their defense being healthy, Brock Purdy being back, he's not going to be that super shiny star QB, but he's a game manager, and I think the 49ers just have too much firepower.
Do you think Purdy's pretty healthy?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's healthy enough for his role.
He's got a good team and a smart offensive coach. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Cardinals visiting the Commanders. The Cardinals may be one of the worst teams we've seen in a long time, even though the Commanders have no business winning more than 5 games. I think they take care of the Cardinals. We've got the Packers visiting the Bears. I'm pretty big on the Bears. I think they're really good this year. I think the Packers are in a growing phase. Jordan Love's looked pretty good.
Yeah, that's looked pretty good. But I've been surprised. I think that's just more really good coaching.
Yeah, it is really good coaching. They've got a really, really young receiving core. They still have Aaron Jones, but I think the Bears are ready to kind of turn the tide there and start beating the Packers for the next few years. We've got Raiders visiting the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos and Sean Payton on this one all day long. We've got the Dolphins visiting the Chargers. Regardless of what I actually think,
Good game.
the Dolphins are winning this one.
Good game.
But that's aside from, bias aside, I think that's probably number 2 or number 3 in highly anticipated games because those are two teams that could make deep runs. We've got Eagles visiting the Patriots. They're taking care of business all day long, and that is the third team that I'm putting in my teaser there. The Eagles, because you're going to get them at plus 2.5. There's no way they're losing that game. You get the Rams visiting the Seahawks. Seahawks are going to handle them no problem. The Rams, again, they have, 6 undrafted rookies that they're starting. It's going to be a tough year for the Rams.
Cup's already hurt again.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a long year, and I think Matthew Stafford's going to be like, he might be done by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Might be able to stick a fork in him, and he's going to go retire. So.
Yeah. You've got the Cowboys visiting the Giants. I think that's
a decent game.
That's Sunday night.
Decent game.
Casey, love you, brother, but I'm going with the Giants. The New York Football Giants, dude. I think Daniel Jones is ready to take care of business. I think that they're going to split this year. I think the Cowboys will beat the Giants at home, and I think the Giants are going to beat the Cowboys at home. Saquon's healthy. They've added some receivers. I think the Giants are going to be a really solid squad. And then the last one here, you've got Bills at the Jets.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
This is probably the only time you ever will hear me say this, but let's go Bills.
Let's go Josh Allen. Yeah.
I
think it's going to be an interesting game for sure, and I'm looking forward to watching that one too.
Yeah, after watching Hard Knocks, the 5 episodes that they do for training camp, I'm so ready for Aaron Rodgers to get some humble pie. So there we go. There's the picks. We'll see how we do.
Go figure.